You may have noticed there's some crazy news going on in Magic the Gathering right now, banning, unbannings, new sets, 30-pack booster box. It's a crazy world out there, and it's time for you, the player, to get your 2-for-1 deal. Now, stay tuned, we have a lot to cover. Supply and demand is what it's all about, and most Magic players fail to recognize it even when it's staring them right in the face. Welcome back, everyone. MTG Moxman here, and thank you again for hanging out with me on the channel today. You're here, you're back, I'm back. We're all here together. It's awesome. I'm glad you're here. If you enjoy the channel, don't forget, like and subscribe. I mean, somebody has to, right? Or wouldn't we still be doing this every day? Thanks again to the patrons. Oh yeah, that's who. I know, it's a silly day, I can't help myself. So, let's get into this. Did you guys know, or were you aware, that Magic the Gathering does offer a 2-for-1 deal? They do. It happens all the time. Buy one, get one free. 2-for-1, 3-for-1 sometimes, like the old pizza chain here in Canada. 4-for-1 if you're looking in the right place at the right time. And the best part is, when it works well and you come out ahead, you feel like a genius. You will feel like the top of the food chain. And when it doesn't, well, you'll kick yourself. You'll blame somebody like me. Now, first, I want to go over some with you. I'm going to have to read this from the screen just to make sure we're all up on this. I'm reading it from the side here. The law of demand is a fundamental principle of economics that states that at a higher price, consumers will demand a lower quantity of a good. Demand is derived from the law of diminishing marginal utility. The fact that consumers use economic goods to satisfy their most urgent needs first. All right. A market demand curve expresses the sum of quantity demanded at each price point across all consumers in the market. There we go. And changes in price can be reflected in the movement along the demand curve. But by themselves, they don't cause an increase or a decrease. The shape and magnitude of demand shifts in response to changes in the consumer market, preferences, and other related economic goods. Well, there you have it. That's the sum of what we're talking about. Because right now, there's lots of cards that have no demand. None. But I want to start with something just to show you exactly what we're talking about. I'm going to pop this one up on the screen for you here. Here is Mox Opal. Look at this bad boy of comedy. Look how much this card is starting to climb, okay? Don't take the price you see. MTG stocks hasn't caught up yet, but right now, this card is well over $100 everywhere you look, okay? It has climbed massively in the last 48 hours. But if you look back to 2017, when this thing was a $40 card, imagine you're a person who buys 8 of them at $40. You've held on a number of years playing and enjoying the card, and now this thing's $100 and something. That's a pretty expensive card. That's a massive jump. And for the people who have to buy this card, it's very expensive. It costs them a lot of money. But if you're a player who already owned the cards, well, you've come out ahead now. You're actually in the demand side. You're like, hey, everyone demands to get a copy of my card, but I don't really want to sell it, so the price keeps going up. Right? The quantity does not meet the consumer demand. So that's kind of where we're at with a card like this. But this one, of course, is on the rise. That's why I put it here first, because this is the one that's climbing. But what about cards that are on their way down? The One Ring was around the $150 mark. This thing is down to $66, but really you can find it in some places already in the 50s. And it's not going to drop rock bottom. We know it's still used in Commander. But this thing is probably going to go down another 10% over a certain period of time and level out for a while. But that means this is a 2-for-1 deal. You could buy 2 for the price of what an old one cost you in October of 2024. I want you to think about that for a moment. In October of 2024, a 1 was $100+. But now, in December of 2024, you can get 2 for the same price. Well, isn't that what we're talking about? Isn't that basically a 2-for-1? I buy 1, I got 1 free. I bought 2 and 1 was free. 1 and 1 was free. It's still free. Now, there's other cards we've got to discuss because this is very interesting. Here's the Jeweled Lotus. Here you see it for $40. Oh, you can get it cheaper than 40. I'll tell you right now. It's below 40 in many places. I could have showed you guys spreadsheets taken from TCG Player. I might still insert them into this video when I edit. But the idea you're looking at is look at the price. It's $40. The thing was at 100. It's dropped 60%. Okay. Drop down 60 because this thing's only playable in Commander because it casts your Commander. I know people say you can use it other places, but nobody's really thinking of doing that. You're going to use it in Commander, maybe Kitchen Table Magic, maybe Rule 0. You don't care. But the point is, the value's been lost because the demand for the card went down, the supply rose, and the price fell. Simple economics, people. But isn't this almost a 3-for-1 deal because it is so inexpensive? And based on what we've just seen with Mox Opal, Splinter Twin, isn't there a chance this card a couple of years from now could become unbanned? And if it's unbanned and you bought multiple copies now, wouldn't you stand to benefit from the increased price further down the road? I'm not saying that's going to happen. I don't have a crystal ball. You can't quote me on that, but it could happen, right? And if we jump over and take that same logic and take a look at a card like Mana Crypt, and you see Mana Crypt here, and you go, okay, Mana Crypt, this thing's a bad boy comedy. It's an amazing card. It used to be $200+, and certain versions are still more expensive, but they've all fallen in price. So here's $200. You look at this card, and this thing in 2021 was 100. Now that it's banned, it's falling below 100, and it's still falling because it's been reprinted a number of times. We just saw it in the Lost Caverns of Ixalan, and now we've got all these copies everywhere. And as that price falls, somebody's going to pick up the gauntlet and take the risk, and they might be rewarded for it. I've done a few videos kind of skirting this issue, but when we look at where the prices are, and you look where Mox Opal went, when you look what's happening with Splinter Twin, and we have a history now of seeing these things happen 4, 5, 6 years, it doesn't mean you're going to do it right away. But let's face it, somebody's going to buy 3 or 4 or 5 jeweled lotuses, spend $150, which used to be the cost of one at one point, and they're going to sit on them. They're going to play a couple of them, don't care, put it in a binder. And then what's going to happen is a couple of years from now, Wizards decides to unban it just by chance. I'm not saying they're going to, but maybe they'd make money doing it, and maybe unbanning it would be good for business. And maybe by then, the pain and sting of the banning will have worn off. It'll be numb. It'll be a memory. It won't be like getting a shot in the arm, right? Next day it's all sore. It's a little bit less, and then Wizards can reintroduce the card, bring it back, and make a lot of money. But if you're one of the people taking advantage of that before it happens, that's a 2-for-1, 3-for-1, or a 4-for-1, depending on where we're at in the market space. People have done this for years. And there's always going to be people doing it. They're buying in the low, selling at the high. Some of these people don't want money. They trade in for power, for big magic cards. Other people, they like to almost play the game for free. And they build up such a line of equity of buying and selling and trading these cards in that they can pick up whatever cards they need for any competitive deck they're building. The reasons for why people do it are numerous, but they are all for financial gain. They're all to make sure that they stay ahead of the curve and make money because so many other people are never going to take the chance. They are never going to do it. But I just demonstrated it to you. We just saw what happened with Mox Opal. We've seen this before. And these things start recuperating. And there's always a chance they're going to get unbanned if it's good for business. Or if other cards supersede the card, make it less threatening. And then they can reintroduce the card. I hope you guys take a moment somewhere in your day and just ponder those things, because lots of things go on sale and everyone considers it a bad deal, a bad bargain at the time. But that 1 or 2 people who take advantage of it, things turn around. And most of those people will never gloat. They don't want to let you in on the game. They don't want you playing the game. They want you to keep doing what you were doing. They're going to keep doing what they're doing, except for they're the ones coming out ahead in the long run. Not every time, but a lot of the time. And the people who know how to do it and do it well take their hits as well as their losses. Right? They understand they don't win every time. But really, you don't lose until you sell the card. So they can sit on them even longer and just wait and wait and wait. Take that one and just mull it over tonight. Kick back a cold one, play some Magic, look at your cards, and say, is it worth it to buy 3 Jeweled Lotuses for the price of 1? Is it worth it buying 2 Mana Crypts, maybe even 3 Mana Crypts for the price of 1 just a couple of years ago? And what are the advantages of doing so? What are the threats? What are the detriments to doing so? And I think in the end, you might surprise yourself and just kind of wonder why people take the chance and why they don't take the chance. Guys, thanks a lot for hanging out. I hope I blew your minds. I hope you got to enjoy yourselves and kick back a little bit. And I will look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow with another video, because you know what? It's an awesome day in the world of Magic the Gathering. And don't forget, bring a friend to Magic. I know I'm going to. Hey guys, a big shout out and thank you to the fantastic patrons of the channel. Because of those patrons, daily uploaded content is put out there for everybody to enjoy, but also we get to have these discussions, think about Magic in the in-depth terms of the amazing strategic game that it is. I can't wait to play some Magic this weekend. I'm already gonna, you know what? No, I'm not gonna ruin it. I'm not gonna ruin it. We'll talk about it on the Sunday live stream. Have a great one. We'll see you soon. Welcome back to the Ramble Jamble. Now, I don't know if you could tell during the video, I sliced my tongue. I mean, I was eating a nut and I came down hard on a chomp and I like took a chunk back in there and it is hurting, right? It's kind of numb now, but it's caused me to like lisp a little bit, I think, as I'm speaking. I can't tell. Maybe you guys can tell. We'll see if it comes out. Like I think there, see if it comes out. I don't know. It's because I can't seem to get the tongue to extend to a certain length to say certain words. I can hear like a lisp. A lisp. That was exaggerated, I know. So here we are, okay? More coffee. I hope people think about that, because this stuff happens, and it happens a lot. I remember I pulled out my Jeweled Lotus, the one I opened in a pack, and I just pulled it out of the Commander deck because I'm going to play with people who don't use it. I pulled it out, and I looked and I said, wow, that card's like 30, 40 bucks now. So I could get 5 of them for 200 bucks. 6 of them for 200 bucks, 7 for 200 bucks, depending on where the price is, depending on what version you're going for. Or I get one of the fancier versions and I spend a lot less money on buying it. And do I really think Wizards is going to keep that card banned for a long period of time, for 10 years? And if they did, would it still be worth holding on to, just because when they did unban it, because you know they're never going to reprint that. There's no reason to reprint it if you can't play it. It's a banned card and it doesn't really have a use right now. So people aren't going to find value in it. But other people who know where the value will be later down the road, they're the ones who take advantage of that stuff. Anyway, just thought we'd share that one with you today. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And you know what? Shop smart, shop as smart. Don't forget, we'll see you soon. The Necronomicon, page 119, subsection 4. Swallow your soul. Swallow your soul. Swallow your soul. Ramble jamble.